Senator Tim Scott's been representing South Carolina in the United States Senate for 9 years.
Man, you can't back out now.
How are you, sir?
But his time in politics goes back much further.
Chairman of Charleston County Council. On behalf of County Council,
His political career kicked off in 1995 when he won an open at-large seat on the Charleston County Council. He became the first black Republican elected to any office in South Carolina since the late 1800s.
if you're a black Republican, then you're like a unicorn. So there's only not that many of you. So it's easy to stereotype you or typecast you into a small place, and nothing is further from the truth.
Scott says his passion for his constituents is what pushed his political career further up the ladder. After serving on the county council for 14 years, he went on to serve in the South Carolina State House, the United States Congress, and now the U.S. Senate.
I had a great mentor, a guy named John Moniz. He was a Citadel graduate. He was running a Chick-fil-A in the Northwest Mall. And one of the lessons he taught me was that, Tim, you have to take responsibility for yourself. And after you do that, the first thing you should do is not ask someone to help you, but find ways to help them.
Now, after almost a decade in the U.S. Senate, has Scott kept that promise of addressing his voters' concerns?
But people still have a chance to come and, pull on my jacket or say, tap me on the back when I'm at the gym. So interestingly enough, I'm a hometown kind of senator. So I'm always out and about through my community and throughout the state. So for me, it's been easy to stay in touch because I live in South Carolina. I don't live in D.C.
Scott's been the sponsor of 13 bills signed into law. One of the most recent was the HBCU Partners Act, which aimed to strengthen the capacity and competitiveness of historically black colleges.
We've focused a lot of attention on HBCUs. We've been very successful through the previous administration. We were able to bring the funding to the highest level ever in the history of the country, and then we made it permanent for the first time. So there's a lot to be excited about in what we were able to accomplish.
When it comes to reaching across the aisle, it's no easy feat for most politicians these days. As a conservative Republican, has Scott been able to achieve bipartisanship?
When you find common ground, you're usually using common sense, and so we've had a lot of success. My goal is to make friends, not friends like in friendships, but friends like in people who are willing to work together credibly on issues that matter to others.
Well, according to GovTrack, Scott practices what he preaches. He was in the 71st percentile in writing bills co-sponsored by Democrats compared to other Senate Republicans. But recently, Scott went head-to-head with Democrats during debates on the voting rights bill. As one of only 3 black senators, Scott's voice was elevated in this conversation.
As a person who was born in 1965 with a mama who understands racism, discrimination, and separate and not equal, the grandfather who I took to vote and helped him cast his vote because he was unable to read, to have a conversation in a narrative that is blatantly false is offensive, not just to me or Southern Americans, but offensive to millions of Americans who fought, bled, and died for the right to vote.
Scott argued that the Democrats were using voting rights legislation as a partisan power grab, but the issue of voting access has come up time and time again, especially in the South. So has Scott remained consistent in his stance on this issue, or has he flip-flopped to please his party?
I'm stronger on my position that we live in the greatest country ever designed on earth, and that this country has to be protected. And you do that by putting America before politics. And so if I walked away from anything, it's the dysfunction of Washington is driven by ego and partisanship.
Going forward, Scott says he's not going to be focusing on partisan politics, but rather the needs of South Carolinians.